Alright, here we go. This hand looks like a keeper to me. You can see, of course, how it's going to be a little painful. Our opponent played a Lotus Bloom Suspended and a Temple Deceit, so he's obviously on. So this is going to be a very dead card because our opponent is playing Ad Nauseum over here. So we can. Good news is our life total not super relevant, so we can go ahead and fetch and shock with impunity. And being on the play here is going to be pretty rough. I mean, especially we drew a land. We have this pass, so we essentially mulliganed, but we'll be able to. Second one has gone in the sleight of hand, so we can Inquisition him next turn. Cast Zur the turn after that. Unfortunately, Zur not going to be able to fetch up too many silver bullets here. Of course, when we go to game 2 and 3, he'll be able to get quite a bit out of our deck, but let's see what we draw. Spellskite is not bad. There's certainly no reason not to play it. It allows us to... Okay, so we can hit the... His hand's actually not very good. We take the unlife and he needs 2 pieces. And he's got the Lotus Bloom, so he don't believe he'll be able to pact us next turn. So yeah, this actually probably as good as it's going to get here, getting rid of this. I get the Spellskite out here. You can cause them to have to discard additional lands, and it's not usually super relevant when you redirect it like that, because the Lightning Storm is what we're talking about. Lightning Storm is a card that, while it's on the stack, they can discard lands to add damage to it and direct it to us. But Spellskite can of course direct that at them, and then it becomes this game where they have to pitch more lands to target us, etc. Of course, they play enough, it's usually not relevant. However, if we end up getting the Unflinching Courage with our Zur, then, you know, it could be relevant, because if you gain enough life, this deck actually has a hard time beating you, speaking from experience. Alright, we'll go ahead and run our Zur out here. Of course, the problem being we've dealt 0 damage to our opponent, so that is the downside. Now, these are going to be coming off. So our opponent, he's got a bunch of mana, which is all fine. The bad news for him is that he, last we saw, did not have any combo pieces and hasn't played any more dig spells. So he's got his mana to go off, but we're actually theoretically going to get an attack in here with Zur. In fact, I think I'm just going to go ahead and, given the way this board state looks, I'm going to bash with everything. Get the assault formation. Hit him for 9. Yes, I should have. Yeah, I probably should have pumped and made it 10. I think that was a misplay. Well, hope we don't get punished. I certainly punted that a little bit. Kind of clicked through it there. Meant to click it, but it hit F6 instead of F2. The dangers of Magic Online. He's got the Lab Maniac main board. Interesting. Okay. Guess we'll go ahead and path it here. Now, and it probably doesn't matter, but it allows us to get in this turn. Alright, so I guess we're going to go ahead and get the Unflinching Courage. Go ahead and put it on our birds here. Go ahead and pump our team with Assault Formation. And try to kill him. Did it. Actually, I didn't need to pump there. We had it with the Unflinching Courage. But alright, we actually stole game 1 there. That was a pretty clutch Inquisition. And now we get to play some cards that are good against him. Alright, things we want to board out. The paths are Not very good. The spell skites are actually not very good here. The abrupt decays are also mediocre because I mean they're not bad for sure. I mean we can get the. I mean maybe they're better than Detention Sphere. Yeah, they're better than Detention Sphere at least. All right, let's go ahead and give this a shot here. I say actually the Unflinching Courage there is very good, so we're not going to be cutting Unflinching Courage. All right, this hand I think is pretty reasonable. We have a Mana Dork, we have an Inquisition, we have a Nevermore. Name Ad Nauseum, of course, that's the card he generally has to have. There's multiple pieces that fill the role of the Angel's Grace, but it's just the Ad Nauseum to draw the deck. Of course, you know, he will be able to have plenty of answers to this. The question is, do we Inquisition on this turn, or do we just play our Courser Crewfix? I'm leaning towards playing the Courser Crewfix, and then just to start dealing damage. And then the turn after that, we should be able to play the Nevermore and the Inquisition. Interesting. Spoil for the Vault. All right. What was named? This is an interesting card. I have a friend who plays this deck quite a bit, and he actually ended up cutting this card because it's just you give a lot of life for it a lot of times, and he moved to just playing us the one that lets you look at 5 or 4, I think it is. I'm blanking on the name, but it's just a card, an instant blue card that allows you to look at the top 4 and take an instant or sorcery. Okay, so we drew a Zur. That's pretty good. Now I'm thinking about possibly playing. I'm not sure the best way to sequence this here. I could just play the Courser. I'm kind of leaning towards not doing that right now because we have the Zur and we want to cast the Zur next turn, but we also obviously need to cast things like our Inquisition. So I'm thinking I'm going to play Inquisition, play Birds, get in there for 1. The next turn we will have 5 mana. We can cast Zur. That doesn't do much for us. So we could cast, if we play the Courser, the next turn we only have 4 mana, which we can either play Zur or play Nevermore and Inquisition. Maybe that's fine. I mean, this really just depends on how fast we think our opponents. He named Lotus Bloom. Knew it was on top of his deck, or yep, sure. Yeah, I guess he knew from the temple. Makes sense. So he's got the Bloom, but that means we're probably not dead yet. So I think we might be able to play the Courser here. Next turn, play the Zur. I think we just want to play this first. And just start attacking with it rather than the Courser. So I guess just looping back around here, we can play the Bird, play the Inquisition. Next turn have 5 mana, play Zur and nothing. We can play the Inquisition and the Bird, or we can play Courser next turn have 4 mana. And decide between these two and this. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and play. I've talked myself into playing the Courser. Just to try to kill him. Okay, we're going to draw another Inquisition. That's fine. I don't know if this is correct. I'm valuing... the fact that our opponent went for a Lotus Bloom means that, you know, he doesn't have what feels like a very early kill. Because there's none of them in exile. If I'm reading the board correctly. There's the 1, of course, but that's it. There wasn't a first turn 1. Okay. Yeah, and a Pentad Prism. So he's going to want to kill us next turn. But we're going to double Inquisition him here. Alright, so we gain some life to boot. Okay, so let's think about this. This is actually my white mana. We could Inquisition. I'm probably just gonna double Inquisition and Birds. I say we could Inquisition and Nevermore, but I guess the first thing we do is just go ahead and Inquisition. This thing is going to be. We don't have another Godless Shrine. It's probably we get the Temple Garden. It's got it now. It has to be black. It's maybe just maybe we should get the Overgrown Tomb here. Alright, so now I'll go ahead and lead with this one because this allows us Inquisition and then Nevermore if that becomes the better play rather than Inquisitioning and Birdsing. Perfect, okay. Yeah, he really wants to kill us. So we're going to go ahead and Inquisition now. Or I could try to resolve this Nevermore. The thing is he can win in his upkeep. The deck wins at instant speed. If that's where he's at. So he would just go Angel's Grace into Ad Nauseum. Now how we really get him is if we play Nevermore. It's also the slightly, well, maybe more efficient option, but we could play Nevermore, name Ad Nauseum, and then he can't cast it at all. And he has to find an Echoing Truth, or he has to have another Pact and those be his last two cards. I think I'm going to do that. This is a little more mana efficient, although, you can make the argument it's not because of the other, but, well, maybe we don't want to do that. Since we don't have a land, we'll have access to 4 mana next turn, which is just enough to play Zur. And not the Inquisition. So maybe we just Inquisition again and play the Birds, and then next turn we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can choose between those. We also obviously can hit a land on top of our deck. We'll have 5, so we can cast Zur and this. Yeah, that's fine. Of course, if he has another Pact and Angel's Grace and Ad Nauseum in hand, we're dead, but he does not. And okay, so this is going to be very rough for our friend here. All right, the Angel's Grace is gone. The terrible part for him here is he actually has to pay for the Pact now. So we'll go ahead and get in there for 3. Knock him down to 16. He has to pay for Pact, so that burns his Pentad Prism. Then we get to untap and cast Nevermore. Maybe, we may not need to because, well, he has it, so we probably will because that Lotus Bloom is going to come off Suspend. So I don't want him to, he's tapping out this turn, but I don't want his Lotus Bloom to come on next turn and then he rip the Angel's Grace or whatever to beat us. Yeah, doesn't matter. He wouldn't have enough mana, I guess. That'll do it, though. It wins. There you go. This is the sort of deck where if you're playing the original Zur list and you don't have access to all of these black cards or things like that, it's just the mana dorks in that game played a huge role. We were able to handle a combo deck there very well. So that was a pretty sweet match.